Okay, so get ready because today we're going deep into the world of UFOs.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
It is. We've got this collection of essays from a blog called Ufologia,
Hmm.
Lado B-O, outrolado.ufologia.
Okay.
And it's got some pretty wild stuff in there. I mean, we're talking extraterrestrial life,
Right.
space exploration,
Hmm.
even the impact UFO sightings have had on our culture.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
It is. It's like a crash course in all things otherworldly, you know?
I like that.
And what I think is really interesting is how this blog tackles both the hard science side of ufology,
Yeah.
but also the more, I don't know, imaginative side.
Right, exactly. It's a good mix of both.
It is. It's like, on one hand, they're talking about biosignatures,
Yeah.
which are like, these chemical fingerprints scientists are looking for to prove that there's life on other planets.
Hmm.
And then on the other hand, they're debating whether or not humanity is even ready to meet ET face to face.
It makes you think.
It really does.
Yeah.
So how about we unpack some of these big ideas from these essays and see what we can learn, huh?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. So one of these essays, it starts with this line that just totally grabbed me. It says, Observatorios espaciais y terrestres têm uma oportunidade sem precedentes de explorar as atmosferas y superfícies dos planetas com características semelhantes às Terra.
Okay.
So basically what they're saying is that with all of our fancy new telescopes, we've got a way better chance now than ever before of finding another planet that's like Earth.
Exactly. Yeah. And the key to that is finding those biosignatures.
Right.
It's not enough to just find a planet that looks like ours.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to find some actual evidence, some chemical evidence that life could exist there, even tiny little microbes.
Okay, so break this down for me, this whole biosignature thing.
Sure.
Because it sounds super high tech.
It is pretty high tech. So imagine we've got this really powerful telescope, and we're talking like James Webb Space Telescope,
Yeah.
powerful. And it can actually capture the light that passes through a distant planet's atmosphere.
Wow.
And in that light, there's this hidden code, like a rainbow fingerprint.
Fascinating.
Because every element, every molecule, absorbs specific wavelengths of light. And this creates unique patterns. And scientists can analyze these patterns to figure out what's in that planet's atmosphere.
Okay.
So if they see the signature of, let's say, oxygen or methane, but in very specific combinations,
Yeah.
then that could be a huge sign that there's something biological happening on that planet.
So it's like we're playing cosmic detective,
Right.
searching for clues across light years.
Exact.
It's amazing. What would be like the most mind-blowing biosignature to find?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the one that just screams, we're not alone.
That's a tough one. There's a lot of debate about that,
Oh, I bet.
about which biosignatures would be the most convincing. Some
Yeah.
scientists think that if we could detect chlorophyll,
The thing that makes plants green.
yeah, the pigment that makes plants green, that would be like a slam dunk.
Really?
Because it would point to photosynthesis, which is a process we associate with life as we know it.
Right.
But then again, who knows, right? Maybe there are forms of life out there that are completely different.
Yeah.
Maybe they rely on different chemistries, processes that we can't even imagine.
It's so crazy to think about.
It is.
And that's what I love about this whole topic of UFOs.
Yeah.
It really makes you think outside the box,
It does.
And speaking of thinking outside the box, two of the essays in this collection get super philosophical.
Whoa.
Yeah, they ask, like, what if we found proof of alien life? Would humanity be ready for it?
It's a heavy question.
It is.
And it's not just about, like, spaceships landing on the White House lawn, right?
Right.
It's about what happens to our society, our religions, like our whole understanding of ourselves
Yeah.
when we realize that we're not the only intelligent beings in the universe.
Right. Can you imagine the headlines?
Oh, it would be chaos.
The debates.
Yeah.
Oh, the internet would just, like, implode.
I think so.
I mean, have we even learned enough from our own history? Like, think about how different cultures have clashed, even here on Earth.
Yeah,
To think we could handle something like that peacefully.
that's a good point.
I don't know. It makes you think.
It does.
And you know what else is interesting?
What's that?
This blog also gets into remote viewing,
Oh, wow.
which is basically this idea that you can mentally travel to different places and times.
Yeah, the idea of being able to see things remotely without actually being there
Right.
is definitely a fascinating concept.
It is. So how's it supposed to work?
Huh.
You just, like, concentrate really hard
Uh-huh.
and teleport your mind.
Well, the essays describe this technique where a visualizer focuses their attention on a specific target.
Okay.
And through different mental exercises, they try to gather information about that target no matter how far away it is. Some even claim to be able to travel to other planets.
No way.
Yeah, or even different points in time.
So this is starting to sound a little bit like a scene from like The Men Who Stare at Goats,
Right.
where they're trying to walk through walls.
I see what you mean.
Is there like any real science backing this up at all?
While the concept's interesting, the scientific community is, let's just say, not convinced. There's just no solid evidence that it actually works.
Okay.
There have been lots of studies done on it, but the results are mostly inconclusive.
Yeah.
It kind of falls into that category of things that are super fascinating, but there just isn't the proof to be taken seriously by mainstream science.
Right. Got to stay skeptical.
Exactly.
But speaking of skepticism, a lot of the essays in this collection seem kind of worried about the state of ufology itself.
Interesting.
What's the deal with that?
Well, a lot of the authors are concerned about the lack of solid evidence for a lot of UFO claims, and they also point out that there's a lot of potential for hoaxes, and
Right.
people trying to, make money off this whole UFO craze.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
And all of that makes it harder to separate real research from all the noise.
Yeah, for every credible report, you've got like 10 blurry photos and wild stories that just make the whole thing look kind of shady.
Exactly.
So what would it even take for ufology to be considered like real science?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of evidence would convince all the skeptics out there? What would it take to make it a respectable field of study?
Right.
Some people say we need absolute physical proof, like a crashed spaceship,
Yeah.
or, undeniable contact with aliens. But others think that analyzing patterns in radar data or eyewitness accounts from, super credible sources, that could be enough.
Yeah.
It's a complex issue.
It really is. What's the bar for proof,
That's the thing.
I mean, a blurry photo obviously isn't going to cut it.
No.
But even if we had a crystal clear image of a UFO, would people still find ways to dismiss it,
It makes you wonder.
It does. It makes you wonder how we as a society decide what's real and what's not.
It's-
Okay, before we move on, there's one essay I just have to ask you about.
Okay, what is it?
It links ufology to, wait for it, witchcraft.
Whoa, that's unexpected.
I know, right?
It's definitely a unique perspective.
It is. It's a reminder that ufology intersects with all sorts of different belief systems and cultures in ways that we might not expect.
Right.
I mean, it seems a little out there, I'll admit.
Yeah.
But it does make you think about how people throughout history have tried to explain the unknown.
Yeah, when there's no logical explanation, sometimes people turn to the supernatural.
Exactly. It's like this basic human need to find explanations, even if they're in the realm of like the mystical or magical.
I think you're right.
And ufology isn't just about science and tech. It's also about our hopes, our fears, and how we try to understand our place in the universe.
Very well said.
Okay, well, speaking of venturing into the unknown, this blog also talks a lot about space exploration.
Oh.
And it's not all, sunshine and rockets. There's actually some concern in there about all these space tourism ventures that are popping up.
Interesting.
Kind of like some of the concerns they have about ufology.
How so?
Well, they're questioning whether the people involved in space tourism, are really driven by scientific curiosity.
Yeah.
And like a desire to push the boundaries of knowledge.
Right.
Or if it's more about money and personal gain.
I see what you're saying.
Are we exploring space for the right reasons? Or is it becoming like a playground for the rich?
Yeah.
And how does that affect the search for knowledge and our understanding of the universe?
That's a great question.
Like, should space be for everyone or just those who can afford it?
Right.
Does that lead to a situation where, like, making money overshadows real learning and discovery? It's something to think about, that's for sure.
It really is.
Okay, but before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive,
Yes.
I have to tell you this fun fact from the blog.
All right, I'm listening.
It totally blew my mind. Did you know the rock band Foo Fighters got their name from UFOs?
Wait, really?
Seriously.
Yeah.
So back in World War II, Allied pilots kept seeing these strange lights and objects flying near their planes.
No, yeah, I've heard of it.
And they called them Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And no one could figure out what they were.
Right.
Some thought they were secret weapons. Some thought they were like some weird atmospheric thing. But the name stuck.
Interesting.
And then years later, Dave Grohl, the frontman of the Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
he came across the term and thought it was cool.
So he named the band after it.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
Right. It's just this funny little quirk of history.
It is.
This rock band, named after something from the world of UFOs.
It's pretty cool.
It is. It shows you how ufology, even with all the mysteries and weirdness, it's a part of our culture in all these strange little ways.
It really is.
But we're going to have to pause our UFO adventure. But don't worry, stay tuned for part 2. We'll be exploring even more fascinating stuff from these essays, like how hard it is to actually prove that aliens exist, and the role government agencies play in investigating UFOs.
I can't wait.
It's going to be out of this world.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so we're back for more UFO talk.
Back for more.
And today, we're continuing our deep dive into, well, trying to prove that we're not alone in this crazy universe.
The age-old question, right?
Right. And let's face it, it's a quest that's full of, like, dead ends and twists and turns, you know.
Definitely keeps you guessing.
One of the biggest things, as we've been talking about, is that it's so hard to find good evidence.
Yeah, solid, undeniable proof.
Exactly. We're often dealing with blurry photos,
right,
anecdotal stories, just a whole lot of, I saw something weird in the sky.
Which makes it really hard to separate fact from fiction.
Exactly. But there's this one essay, it's called Extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
A hypothesis incontestable.
Right.
Just basically means, like, extraterrestrials. The undisputed hypothesis. And it argues that even though we don't have hard proof, the universe is just so massive that there's almost got to be life out there somewhere.
That's the whole idea behind the Fermi paradox, right?
That is.
Think about it. We've got billions of stars,
Right.
countless planets, and we're supposed to believe that Earth is the only place where life exists. Statistically, it just doesn't make sense.
It's like statistically impossible.
Pretty much.
So if it's so likely that there's alien life, why haven't we made contact?
Yeah, where is everybody?
Right. That's the paradox.
Exactly.
Like if the universe is this giant party, we're the only ones who showed up.
It seems that way sometimes.
And it's not like we haven't been looking, you know?
Right.
So where are all the cosmic party goers?
Well, there are tons of theories out there.
Oh, I bet.
One is that maybe these advanced alien civilizations are hiding from us on purpose.
Like they don't want us to find them.
Maybe not yet. Maybe they're observing us from a distance.
So we're like their little science experiment?
Maybe. It's like they're watching a cosmic reality show and we're the stars.
Oh, man, that's a little creepy.
I know, right? Like we're being judged by this galactic audience.
Okay, but what if it's not deliberate? What if it's just that space travel is way harder than we think?
That's possible, too.
I mean, we haven't even set foot on Mars yet.
That's true.
And those distances are mind-boggling.
They are.
Maybe the technology we need is just, like, beyond anything we can understand right now.
Could be.
Or what if we're just looking for the wrong things, using the wrong tools?
It's an interesting thought.
Like, what if there's life out there, but it's so different from what we expect that we wouldn't even recognize it as life?
No, that's trippy.
Right. What if we've already picked up signals from aliens, but they just sound like static to us?
It makes you realize how much we don't know.
It does. It makes you rethink everything we think we know about life.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're talking about the search for aliens,
right?
Government secrecy, and now the possibility that we're just not smart enough to even recognize E.T. if we met him.
It's a lot to take in.
That's a lot.
But speaking of secrets, this blog also talks about government agencies and UFOs.
Okay.
Like, how much are they involved in investigating UFO sightings?
Yeah, a lot of people think the government's hiding something.
Right.
Like they've got proof of aliens, but they're keeping it all secret.
It's a popular theory.
It is.
Yeah.
But isn't it possible they have good reasons for keeping some things classified?
Of course, there are always national security concerns.
Right. What if it could cause mass panic if they told everyone?
It's definitely something to consider.
It is. But there's this essay. It's called O Pentágono e o Relatorio sobre os objetos aéreos non identificados, onde está a verdad.
Okay.
It's a mouthful, I know. But it basically means like the Pentagon and the UFO report, where's the truth? And it says that people just don't trust the government when it comes to UFOs.
Interesting.
He argues that if they were more transparent, it would actually help them.
Yeah, make people believe them more.
Exactly. And it would allow for like more open research and discussion.
Transparency is definitely key when you're dealing with something like UFOs.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so mysterious. It could change the world.
Exactly.
But it also brings us back to that question of evidence.
Right.
What would it take for the government to officially say, yes, aliens are real?
Mm.
Would they need, like, a smoking gun?
A captured spaceship.
Yeah. Or could it be something more subtle?
Like undeniable patterns in radar data?
That can't be explained any other way.
Right.
I don't know. It's the million-dollar question.
It is.
It makes you think that ufology isn't just about science and data.
Yeah.
It's about politics, power,
Right.
and how we, as a society, choose what to believe.
It all plays a part.
It does. So what we decide is real might have more to do with, like, our own biases than the actual evidence.
Oh, good point.
Okay, let's lighten things up for a minute.
Okay.
We've been talking about some heavy stuff here.
It has been pretty deep.
Let's go back to space exploration for a bit.
Right.
Because this blog spends quite a bit of time talking about that too.
It does.
And it's not all doom and gloom about the government and secrets.
Okay.
There's also a lot of excitement about space.
I can understand that.
Like what's out there beyond our little planet.
It's a big universe.
It is.
Yeah.
And even though, yeah, there are some worries about, like, space tourism becoming too commercialized.
Right. And who benefits from it?
Exactly. These essays also recognize that it's just, like, human nature to explore.
Yeah.
To push the boundary.
Just see what's out there.
Yeah. To try to answer these huge questions about where we fit in the grand scheme of things.
It's that same drive that makes us so fascinated with UFOs, don't you think?
I think so.
That wanting to know if we're alone.
Yeah.
To connect with something bigger than ourselves.
To understand our place in the universe.
Exactly.
It's like maybe space exploration and ufology are two sides of the same coin.
I like that.
And who knows? Maybe as we explore space more, those two paths will actually meet.
That'd be amazing.
What if, like, we're out there exploring
Yeah.
and we just stumble upon evidence of alien life?
Or even make contact.
Oh, can you imagine?
That would change everything.
It would. But it also brings up some of those questions we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Like, would we even be ready for something like that?
That's a big question.
It is.
Would we react with fear? Or curiosity?
Would we be open-minded?
Or would we be aggressive?
It's definitely something to think about as we continue this UFO journey.
It is.
Okay, so let's dive into another essay.
Right.
This one's about the history of ufology.
Okay.
It focuses on this mystery of the Foo Fighters.
I've heard of those.
Did you have?
Yeah, weren't they these weird lights that pilots saw during World War II?
That's them. It was way before Roswell.
Right, before the whole modern UFO thing really took off.
Exactly. So it's pretty intriguing.
It is. And the fact that it happened during a war makes it even more complicated.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So were they enemy aircraft?
Right.
Some kind of secret technology?
Or something else entirely.
Exactly. The essay goes through all sorts of possible explanations.
Like what?
Well, some say they were just natural phenomena, like ball lightning
Okay.
or St. Elmo's fire.
I've heard of that.
Others think maybe they were top secret weapons that one of the countries involved was testing.
Interesting.
And of course, there's always the possibility that they were something truly unexplained.
Right, something we just don't understand.
The Foo Fighter sightings are just this classic UFO mystery.
No answers, just more questions.
Exactly. But it does make you wonder, why do some sightings, like this one,
Yeah.
capture our imaginations for so long?
Right, while others are just forgotten.
What's the secret ingredient?
It could be a lot of things, I think.
Like what?
The timing, the context, how strange the event was.
Yeah.
Maybe some sightings just tap into our need to believe in something bigger than ourselves.
Something that challenges everything we think we know.
Yes. Exactly.
And it's interesting that the Foo Fighters sightings happened during, like, a time of worldwide anxiety.
World War II, right?
Yeah. Maybe people were just more likely to believe in the extraordinary.
Because the world already felt so uncertain.
Exactly. They were looking for something, I don't know, maybe a threat, maybe a sign of hope.
It shows how a perception of UFOs is shaped by what's going on in the world around us.
It does. What might seem totally normal in one situation
Yeah.
could seem amazing or terrifying in another.
It's all about context.
It is. And it reminds us that we have to approach this whole topic with an open mind.
But also be critical.
Right. Don't jump to conclusions.
Consider all the possibilities.
Be willing to let go of what we think we know if the evidence tells us something different.
Finding the truth requires both skepticism and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Well said. Now, how about we switch gears again
Okay.
and look at this essay that talks about how extraterrestrial contact could affect one of humanity's most deeply held beliefs.
Which is?
Religion.
Ah, that's a big one.
It is. The essay is called, let me see, Como a vida vives inteligente em outros planetas e vista pelas religiões.
Okay.
Which translates to, like, how do religions view intelligent life on other planets?
Interesting question.
It is. It's a question that people have been debating forever.
Yeah, what happens to our faith if we find out we're not alone?
Right. Does it make our beliefs stronger?
Or does it shake everything up?
Exactly. And the essay looks at a whole bunch of different perspectives.
Like what?
Well, some people believe that finding alien life would actually confirm their religious beliefs.
Interesting.
Like it would show that God's creation is even more vast and diverse than we imagine.
Okay.
But others worry that it would challenge the idea that humans are special.
Yeah.
And that could contradict the teachings of their religion.
Right.
It's a tough one.
It is. No easy answers.
Can you imagine, like, the theological debates that would happen?
Oh, for sure.
People reinterpreting scripture?
Right.
It could bring people together.
Or tear them apart.
Exactly. It would be a huge transformative event for religion.
It would make us question everything.
It would. Like our understanding of creation, our place in the universe, our relationship with God, or whatever higher power people believe in.
Right.
It would force us to confront the biggest questions.
Who are we? Why are we here?
That's our purpose.
Big stuff.
It would be a time of incredible opportunity.
But also potential chaos.
So it's like searching for aliens isn't just about finding aliens.
It's about understanding ourselves.
Exactly.
And our place in the universe.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this part of our deep dive.
We have.
We've talked about, like, the challenges of finding evidence.
Right.
The role of the government, the impact on religion.
Yeah.
Even that mystery of the Foo Fighters.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. But there's still more to explore.
There is.
Well, yeah, in part 3, we're going to dive into even more essays from this collection.
Oh, okay.
We're going to look at where ufology is today and think about the future of our quest to understand all these unknowns.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned because we're not done yet.
I'm ready for more.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on this awesome journey through the world of UFOs.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride.
It has. We've covered so much, from like looking for signs of life on other planets.
Right, those biosignatures.
Exactly, to wondering if the government's hiding a bunch of alien stuff.
Always a popular theory.
It is. But for this last part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it's worth taking a minute to, like, think about what we've learned.
About ufology as a whole.
Exactly. Like, where does it stand today?
And where is it going?
Right. So one essay that really got me thinking is Ufologia em Desencanto.
Okay.
It means basically ufology and disenchantment.
I see.
And it talks about how even after all this time, you know...
Decades of research.
Yeah, decades of research and investigations, ufology still has a hard time being taken seriously.
Especially by mainstream science.
Right. And we've seen that a lot in these essays.
We have.
Like, they say ufology relies too much on anecdotal evidence.
Eyewitness accounts.
Right, and blurry photos and videos that never really show anything, for sure.
Plus, there's always the issue of hoaxes.
Oh, yeah.
People trying to profit off of everyone's fascination with UFOs.
It's true. It's like trying to build something solid when the ground's always shaking.
It's definitely a challenge.
But you know what? The essay also says that even with all those problems, ufology still has something to offer.
It still has potential.
Yeah, it could still help us understand the universe in ways we haven't even thought of yet.
I mean, at its core, it's about asking big questions.
It is.
Exploring the unknown.
Right.
Pushing the boundaries of what we know.
And sometimes that means going way out there, you know?
Entertaining ideas that sound crazy at first.
What if the things we think are fringe now end up being like the huge breakthroughs of the future?
That's a good point.
Think about how many ideas that changed the world were laughed at when they were first proposed.
Yeah, like people thought they were ridiculous.
Exactly. Maybe ufology just needs more time.
To develop its methods.
Yeah, to find better evidence.
Yeah, and to become more rigorous.
It needs to find that balance between being open-minded.
But also critical.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of critical thinking, there's this other essay called A Ufologia y Oculto ao Engano.
Ufology and...
It means, like, ufology and the cult of deception.
Oh, wow. That's a strong title.
I know, right? It looks at the kind of the dark side of ufology.
The darker side.
Yeah, like all the hoaxes and misinformation.
People deliberately trying to fool others.
It's a good reminder that not everyone who's interested in UFOs is actually searching for the truth.
Some people have other agendas.
It happens everywhere, right?
Unfortunately.
Where there's mystery, there's always someone trying to exploit it.
It's true.
So for people like us who really want to understand UFOs, How do we know what to believe?
How do we avoid all the fakes?
That's where critical thinking is so important.
It is.
We can't just accept everything we hear.
Right.
We have to look at the source. Like, who's saying it?
Yeah.
What evidence do they have?
Are they biased?
Yeah, it's about being skeptical.
But not closing your mind completely.
Exactly. You got to find that middle ground.
Open-mindedness with a healthy dose of skepticism.
And speaking of mind-bending ideas,
Now?
this blog revisits that Fermi paradox we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah. Where are all the aliens?
Right. So this essay, it's called Onde están dos alienígenas inteligentes? Una explicación alternativa para el paradoxo de Fermi.
Okay, that's a long one.
It is. But basically, it offers a new take on the paradox.
A new take.
Yeah, it says maybe advanced alien civilizations have chosen to stay hidden.
So it's not that they can't reach us.
Right.
It's that they don't want to.
Exactly. We might not be as interesting as we think we are.
Maybe we're not the cool kids on the block.
The essay explores a bunch of reasons why they might stay hidden.
Like what?
Well, maybe they're watching us, but from far away.
Keeping an eye on us.
Yeah, like waiting for us to evolve a bit more.
Before they make contact.
Right. Or maybe they've seen how we treat our planet.
And each other.
And they're like, nah, we're good.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt.
I know, right? But it makes you think.
About our own behavior.
Yeah, and how other beings might see us.
Are we representing Earth well?
Are we worth getting to know?
It's a good question to ask ourselves.
It is. But maybe it's a good thing, you know?
In what way?
It might be the push we need to get our act together.
To be better.
Yeah, to be the kind of species that deserves a place in the galactic community.
I like that. It's a call to action.
So we've reached the end of our UFO deep dive.
Wow, time flies.
It does. We've explored so much.
The science, the mystery.
The controversies, the big questions.
I hope our listeners have a better understanding of this whole UFO thing now.
I hope so, too. It's complex.
It is.
It's always changing.
But that's what makes it so fascinating.
It keeps us guessing. And it makes us think in new ways.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep looking up.
You never know what's out there waiting to be discovered.
The truth is out there somewhere.
Until next time, keep searching for the unknown.